In this video I would like to begin an exegesis of Philip K. Dick's Exegesis. Philip K. Dick is the famous science fiction writer, and I discovered Philip K. Dick probably in the beginning of 2018, February or March, because I just had a mystical experience, and which was connected to science fiction somehow. And I discovered a French author, Jean-Clet Martin, a scholar, specialist in Hegel apparently, who wrote a book about the logic of science fiction from Hegel to Philip K. Dick. And there's a quote from Philip K. Dick which says, here's in English: God develops himself toward perfection through history, dialectically, and the goal of history is the growth of human freedom. Thus, I learned to my delight that most of what I experienced, saw, and learned in March 1974, confirms Hegel, and I am thus a Hegelian, which is fine with me. And when I discovered this sentence, this quote from Philip K. Dick, I was amazed because my own life experience at this moment, my intellectual journey and my intellectual and spiritual development had confirmed Hegel. I had just discovered Hegel. I already vaguely knew about Hegel, but I had discovered him truly in January 2018. And a couple of months later, I discovered this science fiction writer of which I had never heard of, which says, my experience confirms Hegel, therefore I am a Hegelian. And I imagined, well, that's very strange. We do not hear very often people say, my experience confirms Aristotle, therefore I'm an Aristotelian, or my life confirms the thought of Plato, therefore I'm a Platonician. Some might say that for Marx. I am a Marxist because my life confirms the thought of Marx. That is understandable, but it's very rare to hear someone say, my life or my experience or my development or my journey or my path confirms the thought of this philosopher, therefore I am a follower of this philosopher. So I found this quite extraordinary. And I will put the link down below to two videos that I made today, the one about skepticism and another about VALIS, the Vast Active Living Intelligence System, which is a concept that we find in Philip K. Dick. And I recommend that you watch these videos, which are on the channel Cultural Hegelianism, and this channel, Eternal Light, is a byproduct of Cultural Hegelianism. When I do not have enough room to publish more videos on Cultural Hegelianism, I publish videos on this channel. And I would like to make an exegesis of the exegesis and to pick up the ideas which I find relevant to the understanding of reality. And Philip K. Dick, at the beginning of the exegesis, it's an extract, a digest of, I think there were thousands of pages, and here there are only something like 900 pages, so these are not the whole of the exegesis, but the best parts, I guess. He says, the author, not the author, the editors say that the logos is the universal law that governs the cosmos, of which most human beings are somnolently ignorant. The human faculty for the intuition of logos is nous, or nous, or intellection. So there's the idea that there is a logos at work in the world, which is the thought of God or the word of God. And we find in the Bible, in the in John, in the beginning there was the logos, and the logos was with God, and God with the was with the logos, and the logos was the light of man. And yeah, and the logos means the Greek word for word and for reasoning and for logic and for speech. And it seems logical that the logos should be rational. And as far as I know, my experience of the world intellectually and empirically has confirmed the Hegelian logic of being. And I understood today that if we accept that pure being is at the beginning, in a way, of everything, and that there is difference which is introduced within pure being or within pure nothing, which are identical, if difference is introduced within nothing or within being, if something emerges out of being or nothing, then the logical conclusion is that being or nothing must re-establish its own self-identity, and this identity to self and difference is the formal definition of the absolute. So it's logical that from pure being, pure identity with self, if we introduce difference within it, we shall end up with the absolute. And the question is the thought of Hegel strictly true, or is there a way of escaping from Hegel and moving away from Hegel? I don't know yet, but because what we find in being, the manifold, multiple aspects of being, all the things that exist, it seems astonishing that all this might have come out of nothing or out of pure being. It's absolutely amazing and strange and wonderful in a way. So yeah. So he says that it is only through the breakdown of his ordinary reality that a thinking individual can be informed by the supersensual reality of the divine letter, the logos. So in my personal experience, I've had mystical moments, which I later understood were actually speculative moments, which resulted from an intellectual development and a cognitive grasping of many aspects of existence and of the rational world, and my ability to connect the dots and to find meaning and interconnectedness between the various layers of being, so to speak. And I had a few supernatural experiences, and according to Philip K. Dick, it is simply the logos, the eternal word of God, which is Hegelian logic, which is speculative logic, which is a logic which unites within itself the opposites. When this supernatural logic, the logos, breaks through ordinary reality, we contemplate absolute reality. We have a glimpse of the absolute, so to speak. And he seems to think that we are asleep and that I am asleep in my own reality, and that only when I experience absolute reality do I awaken myself, and then am I capable, by sharing information, of awakening others. And yeah. He says that the universe is moving toward total coherence, that all the parts, all the aspects, all the moments, all the separate pieces of the universe, the millions of human beings and the entire natural world are moving towards a coherent, ordered, rational totality. And what I think I can bring to mankind, which is a mirror of myself, is the plan, the vision, the global picture of the totality. Because it's like the prisoner in Plato's cave, the one who escapes from the cave and contemplates the light of the sun, and he comes back into the cave to tell to his fellow slaves that he saw the sun, and that the images that the prisoners see on the wall, the shadows dancing on the wall, are not real, that there is a reality above. And they end up killing the prisoner, but at least he did his job by sharing his knowledge. But I know that I have conceptually understood, abstractly grasped the vision of the totality, and that my purpose is to share it with others so that the whole might become conscious of itself and of its own movement through the becoming conscious of themselves of the many parts, and the more parts are aware of the movement of the whole and the purpose towards which it is aiming at, the more they can share with others and enlighten one another. And the image that I have, which is drawn from Philip K. Dick, but a later moment in the exegesis, is that symbolically the world is the brain of God. God is the macro brain, and we are the neurons of God, and we must re-establish the connection between the synapses and the neurons so that they might function in harmony. And the best that I can do is to show and to share with others my view of the totality. And that's what I am doing by providing partly this exegesis of the exegesis, at least to sum up the main ideas. And here's a quote from John Denver. I don't know him, a current folk singer. And he says that he doesn't compose his many songs. He says, they're out there in the air somewhere, he says, and I just fish them in. So there's this idea, in my view of things, that music, but art in general, is the manifestation of absolute spirit to itself, that my individual self becomes conscious of its spiritual nature by contemplating art. And there's this idea that the artists, the poets, the musicians, the painters, the architects, the singers, the dancers are divinely inspired, in the sense that I don't know the process, I don't understand the process, that there might be a floating cloud of creativity in the air, and they grasp this cloud and they make music out of it, or a work of art, or a painting, or a dance, or a building, I don't know, but in this case music, they are inspired by the floating unconscious spirit in the world, and they transform the potentiality of being into an expression of the knowledge of absolute spirits. That's how I envision it. I don't know how it really works, but I know from my personal experience that the poets and the musicians and the artists are divinely inspired, and that they are enthusiastic in a sense that they may not be consciously aware of it, but the divine possesses them, and it is the divine which produce art through them, and they are the servants and the tools and the assistants and the lieutenants, in a way, of the divine spirit, and they are fulfilling their divine mission by producing their art form, because it enables other men and God to become conscious of its own essence. And that's I don't know how it works, but as far as I can tell, it's absolutely magical. Art is magical. Then he talks about the Hindu doctrine that there is a path, the Dharma, and he distinguishes the delusion that hangs over reality, the Maya, and I made today a video about radical skepticism, and that there is the light of God shining below Maya, which is the Brahman. So I know that there is only Brahman and the Maya. And in order to liberate myself from the Maya, the veil of delusion, and to liberate men and humankind from this veil of illusion, I must enlighten them. And this is what I am partly doing by providing an exegesis of the best moments of Philip K. Dick's exegesis, because yeah, the light must enlighten others and must enlighten itself by revealing the truth and the conceptual understanding of reality. And I will make another video because I'm in the mood for spreading and sharing light and knowledge.